My friend has left the west, where the yellow crane towers, for river town green with willows and red with flowers. So wrote the Tang Dynasty poet Li Bai over 1,200 years ago. It has inspired lasting admiration for the city of Yangzhou across generations. Li Bai visited Yangzhou multiple times throughout his life, and many of his surviving poems were composed there. What so captivated Li Bai in Yangzhou? During the Tang Dynasty, Yangzhou was a wealthy and thriving metropolis, regarded as the most prosperous city of its time, followed by Chengdu in Sichuan.
我们扬州人啊，过日子比较讲究，讲究什么？讲究个舒服，就是要得这一天过得舒服，过得快活。早上皮包水，晚上水包皮。
Every morning, tea houses large and small are filled with guests enjoying their morning tea. In Yangzhou, it's more than just breakfast. It's a cherished tradition for receiving friends and an opportunity to discuss business. The meal is a generous banquet featuring cold appetizers, stir-fried dishes, and a variety of dim sum. And of course, morning tea wouldn't be complete without the tea itself.
我曾经问过外地朋友，你知道扬州什么叫皮包水？皮包水就是扬州的典型，包子做得好，削皮要大馅，一张薄薄的皮包了一肚子水，一肚子汤，叫皮包水，那是粗的。那是我们扬州的一个产品，叫汤包。真正的皮包水就是新味喝茶的过程，豆皮将水包肉，这么个皮包水。
The culture of morning tea embodies centuries of historical heritage and tradition. During the Ming and Qing dynasties, Yangzhou was a major hub for the salt trade in the Lianghuai region, which refers to the coastal region on both banks of the Huaihe River, drawing merchants from Shaanxi, Shanxi, Anhui, and beyond. As these merchants grew wealthy, they became more focused on living in comfort and style, a tradition that continues to this day. The Nanhexia historical and cultural block sits on the northern banks of the ancient canal in the south of the ancient city of Yangzhou. Nanhexia, meaning below the southern canal, reflects its low-lying terrain and location by the southern canal. Benefiting from its proximity to the canal and ferry port, historically, it was a bustling settlement and trading hub for salt merchants. As you walk through Nanhexia, you'll see guild halls, salt merchants' residences, and private gardens neatly arranged.
就是这条街就是著名的饮食街，就像以前盐引啊、交易啊，一条的金融的，它这里呢，所有的盐引交易基本上全是在这里完成。
Zhu Zheyong is a renowned collector in the city. Over 20 years ago, he began collecting cultural artifacts related to Yangzhou's salt merchants.
这个就是一个两浙这边的一个盐商的盐引一个执照，它这是给盐商的。
Salt merchants had to purchase costly salt certificates, which granted them a monopoly over the salt trade. Though Yangzhou itself doesn't produce salt, it thrived thanks to the salt trade. Since the Han Dynasty, the region between Huaihe and Yangtze rivers, where Yangzhou is situated, has been one of the most important salt-producing areas in China. Yangzhou's prime location on the Grand Canal, connecting northern and southern China, allowed salt from the Lianghuai region to be sold across nearly half of the country. This constant flow of wealth made the city exceptionally prosperous during the Ming and Qing dynasties. The streets and alleys of Yangzhou ancient city transport you back in time as you walk through them.
这个地方叫旧城七巷啊，因为这个地方为什么这个巷子都叫七巷、一巷、二巷、七巷、八巷呢？因为这地方过去是一个比较，我们说这个应该说官府比较集中的地方，所以它是有规划的。
Renfengli Historical and Cultural Block is one of the few well-preserved areas in China governed by the Lifeng system, an urban planning layout from the Tang and Song dynasties. From above, it features a complete and distinct fishbone-shaped layout. For many years, Liu Yuping has been dedicated to the preservation and study of the ancient city of Yangzhou. He sees Yangzhou as a living chronicle of history, with layers of urban relics spanning from the Tang and Song dynasties to the Ming and Qing dynasties. These layers of ancient ruins have shaped the city's landscape and overall structure as we see it now. In a sense, Yangzhou is a city born from the canal. Located on the plain on the north bank of the Yangtze River, it sits generally on low-lying terrain. Today, Shugang, in the northwest part of the old town, is Yangzhou's most elevated area, though it's only about 20 m above sea level. Over 2,000 years ago, during the spring and autumn period, the southern slope of Shugang overlooked the vast waters of the Yangtze River. Shugang marked the northernmost point of this section of the river. In 486 BC, King Fuchai of Wu crossed north over the Yangtze to prepare for war against the state of Qi. Taking advantage of Shugang's terrain, he built high city walls on it. To transport supplies to the battlefronts, Fuchai ordered the construction of the Hango Canal connecting the Yangtze and Huaihe rivers. It is the first man-made canal in China, documented in historical records, that connects two major natural river systems. Although Fuchai's ambitious plans ended in failure, the city of Hancheng, built on Shugang, laid the foundation for what would become the city of Yangzhou. 1,000 years after Fuchai built the Hango Canal, a new city called Zhengdu was established at Shugang. The city's governor was Yang Guang, later known to history as Emperor Yang of the Sui dynasty.
Yangzhou 的后来的，在中国历史发展进程当中，这个城市它产生的影响，是吧？它的知名度、它的美誉度，这个都跟隋炀帝有关。大运河还活着，这个很大程度上一个流星般的王朝、短命的王朝，它留下来的这样的一种遗产。
Shortly after taking the throne, Emperor Yang launched a huge water transport project. He built the Tongji Canal to connect the Yellow and Huaihe rivers, established the Yongji Canal to link the Yellow and Haihe rivers, widened the Hangu Canal to join the Huaihe and Yangtze rivers, and constructed the Jiangnan Canal to connect the Qiantang and Yangtze rivers. Over 6 years, Emperor Yang completed the 2,700-kilometer-long Grand Canal, linking 5 major river systems from north to south, integrating the country's major waterways into an extensive water transport system. In 2019, a museum dedicated to the Grand Canal was established alongside the ancient waterway in Yangzhou. In an era of low productivity and limited methods of transport, water transport was the most efficient way of moving grain.
在大运河沿岸的很多的城市，因为这条交通的经济的命脉，带来了城市的繁华，带来了经济的繁华，也带来了很多人文的繁华。
Located along the ancient canal, the Dongguan ancient ferry has been Yangzhou's busiest transport hub since the Tang Dynasty. It was where people boarded boats to leave the city and where they arrived when entering it. Next to the ferry is Dongguan Historical and Cultural Block, originally built in the Tang Dynasty. This area marked the first of Yangzhou's efforts to preserve its historical and cultural heritage in the new century. Today, it is a popular tourist destination, bustling with visitors. In his poem Night Scenes of Yangzhou Marketplace, Tang Dynasty poet Wang Jian captures the city's vibrant lifestyle. Countless lights from the marketplace light up the sky, while sing-song girls entertain guests in tall buildings. Over 1,000 years ago, Dongguan Street was bustling with brightly lit shops, filled with merchants of different skin colors and languages. Talented poets also flocked here, heaping fine words of praise on this remarkable city. The Grand Canal indirectly contributed to the fall of the Sui dynasty, thanks to its massive drain on the empire's resources. However, this also laid the foundation for Yangzhou's prosperity during the Tang Dynasty. Positioned at the confluence of the Yangtze River and the canal, Yangzhou became a key hub for the water transport of grain. From here, one could travel north along the canal to the Central Plains, south to the wealthy Taihu Lake Basin, west upstream to the important economic zones of Hubei and Sichuan, or east downstream to the Yangtze River estuary. Thus, it also served as a vital port on the maritime Silk Road. During the Tang Dynasty, Yangzhou grew into the nation's largest trade and logistics center, even surpassing the capital Chang'an in prosperity. It was the jewel in the crown of empire. Economic prosperity naturally led to cultural flourishing. During the Sui and Tang dynasties, as Buddhism spread widely across China, the demand for Buddhist scriptures and statuary increased dramatically in a bustling city like Yangzhou. With its easy access to raw materials, block printing emerged to meet this growing need. The wood used for block printing needs to have moderate hardness and a fine, smooth grain, making it suitable for both carving and printing. Ancient craftsmen typically chose non-fruit-bearing wild jujube wood or pear wood. The carving tools, called fist knives, demanded a craftsman's mastery to achieve precision.
横平竖直基本上已经掌握了，然后就是不要把刀握得太紧，或者太紧抓在手上，抓得太紧，刻出来的字不是太灵活。像这样大拇指推着这样，这样还可以灵活转动。
The pine soot ink used in Yangzhou block printing is made from soot collected from the walls of Jingdorzhen porcelain kilns. After its special processing, the ink becomes a deep black with a lasting fragrance. When used on handmade Xuan paper, the imprint can last for 1,000 years without fading.
雕版印刷其实是发明在活字印刷之前的，好多人以为就是活字印刷就代表四大发明，其实雕版印刷跟活字印刷就合称的那个中国印刷术。
The advent of block printing greatly promoted the practice of book printing among the public. In a preface to his friend Bai Juyi's Changqing Anthology of Bai, Tang Dynasty poet Yuan Zhen wrote that many bookstores in Yangzhou used block printing to print and sell both his and Bai Juyi's poems. It marks the earliest recorded evidence for block printing. Once a city flourishing through commerce, Yangzhou began to embrace a rich literary culture thanks to the rise of block printing. As the population grew, the city of Zhengdu, built by Emperor Yang of Sui, expanded southwards. It would eventually become Yangzhou in the succeeding Tang Dynasty. Over the centuries, the Yangtze River's shoreline continuously shifted southwards due to the Coriolis force, thus shaping the present-day contours of Yangzhou. During the Tang Dynasty, Yangzhou's government offices were again located atop Shugang, in an area known as Xicheng City. Below Shugang, Luocheng City served as the city's commercial, industrial, and residential hub, centered around the canal. Positioned on its key north-south trade route, Yangzhou flourished economically, but less fortunately, this also made it a strategic military target, leading to its many cycles of rise and fall. In the 18th century, the rise of salt merchants from the Lianghuai region ushered in another era of prosperity for the city. The influence of salt merchants on Yangzhou's culture runs deep, touching all aspects of daily life, from food and clothing to housing and transportation. These wealthy, leisurely merchants sought culinary excellence beyond mere taste. The Huaiyang cuisine's emphasis on knife skills, a direct result of the salt merchants' mutual exchanges in culinary craftsmanship.
一块豆腐干劈成小小薄片，23、24片，倒一起，哒哒哒哒哒哒哒哒哒哒哒哒，下成干丝，刚刚细人村的。
These exquisite knife skills aren't just for show. The fine bean curd strands only need boiling twice during cooking. If they're too thick, the coarse raw beany flavor won't be fully removed.
酱油汤包的麻油一浇，一盆大汤干丝，桌上一放，眼前一亮，形成两只干甜，漂亮。那个是一盆干丝，这就如同工艺品，象牙小薄汤。 因为盐商受教面比较广，所以淮扬菜最大的特点是口味适中，南北协宜。欢迎各位大驾光临扬州。
The playful phrase, skin wraps water in the morning and water wraps skin in the evening, reflects the Yangzhou's rich cultural heritage. Water wraps skin refers to the city's long-standing bathing traditions, and no mention of this would be complete without highlighting the famous Yangzhou pedicure.
别人做的都是，比如说玉器雕的是石头啊，木工是雕的是木头，但是我们雕的是有血有肉有知觉的，所以扬州修脚被称为肉场雕花。
The Yangzhou pedicure is a traditional Chinese medical treatment. Practitioners use specialized tools and Chinese medicinal herbs to trim and care for the feet. Beginners often practice with soap or chopsticks, training repeatedly to perfect their technique and control.
肥皂呢，它更接近于皮肤的这种感受。 包括它片下来以后，让视觉上能够检查出刀具所留下来的痕纹，这个是一直传承下来的。
Yangzhou's traditional pedicure technique is also famous for its skilled use of knives. The process flows smoothly and is customized to each person's specific needs and conditions. The people of Yangzhou have taken their meticulousness to extremes, turning the simple pedicure into a true art form. During its prosperity under the Ming and Qing, Yangzhou cultivated not only a refined lifestyle, but also a distinctive garden style. Unlike the elegant, simple, and understated sophistication of Suzhou gardens, Yangzhou gardens are much more opulent, vibrant, and grandiose, designed to showcase the wealth and status of their owners.
因为扬州它本来没有石头， 它的所有的石头呢，都得从外面运过来。但是呢，盐商他有钱，他运营的时候可以把石头作为压舱石，最后呢，到了我们扬州之后呢，把它堆叠成假山。
Yangzhou has no natural mountains, so its gardens often use stacked rocks to create artificial ones. Heyuan Garden, located in Nanhexia, is a prime example of a late Qing Dynasty Yangzhou garden. In one corner of Heyuan, there is small rock mountain adobe designed by Shi Tao, a renowned painter from the mid-17th century. Between the western corridor walls of small rock mountain adobe, a glass mirror has been set. The mirror captures the reflections of Heyuan Garden scenery from any angle. Directly across from the mirror, light filtering through the Taihu stones reflects onto the pool, resembling a bright moon. This may reflect a deeper insight into life left by the garden's creator, Shi Tao, who spent his later years in Yangzhou. With the support of salt merchant Wu Jialong, he designed this stone landscape. At the end of the 19th century, He Dao, a prominent merchant engaging in state-operated commerce, purchased the adobe from Wu Jialong's descendants and integrated it into the Heyuan Garden. The plum rain season isn't yet over. Engineer Cui Jin is leading his team to begin a new round of maintenance and repairs.
它这个云台没有防水，时间长了之后呢，因为扬州这个雨水也比较多，这个野猫啊也比较多，爬爬弄弄之后，这个瓦散了乱了之后，就会发生生漏。现在呢，我们在这个上面呢做了一层防水卷材，避免了这种生漏的情况。新材料的应用对原有的风貌呢也保持得很好，不会引起外观上有变化。
Traditional Chinese buildings are largely made of wood, which is highly vulnerable to moisture damage in the damp climate of the Jiangnan region. The protectors of these ancient buildings must quickly spot any potential risks and address them right away.
您看，这根柱子柱根发生了着朽，但是它这个着朽的深度呢，可能已经超过柱子的1/2了，所以说呢，我们就采取蹲接的工艺，把这个着朽的部分呢，把它去除，替换新的同材质的木料，保证这个柱子的稳定性。
This pier splicing technique, originally developed by ancient artisans to save costs, now perfectly aligns with the principle of restoring the old as the old in the preservation of historic buildings. It minimizes intervention to maintain the original look. While this patchwork method may not seem as impressive as constructing high-rises, it demands extraordinary patience and precision from restoration workers, much like the delicate art of embroidery. Centuries have passed, but the people of Yangzhou still cherish their private gardens as much as ever.
那个时候到公园去玩，小时候就有一个梦，长大了就能不能在自己家头小院子里头造个小院子。
On ancient Dongguan Street, Du Xiangkai is gradually fulfilling his childhood dream in the family home passed down through generations. Although the courtyard is just over 40 square meters, it has everything: a small bridge, flowing water, a pavilion, a tower, flowering trees, and an artificial hill. This miniature garden, named Xianglu, was almost entirely built by Du Xiangkai himself. In the southeast corner of the courtyard, Du Xiangkai has set a pavilion for resting in. Limited by space, the pavilion has only 2 columns, but the proportions are just right. This tiny area has been transformed by its owner into a charming small retreat. To ensure the work meets the correct standards of appearance, from 2011 onwards, Yangzhou has introduced policies offering financial subsidies and technical support for the restoration of traditional residences in the ancient city. The trend of building new private gardens has gradually gained popularity.
这园林呢，它不分大小，关键要做得舒服，做得牙恰，对这个里头生活有生活的场景有炊烟，住在这种环境里头，就好像是家在园中，园在家中。
When it comes to visiting Yangzhou's gardens, Slender West Lake is a must. As a prime example of Chinese lakeside gardens, it has long been known as among the very finest.
那么“瘦西湖”这3个字呢，最早见于清初吴起《扬州鼓吹词序》当中的一句话，说的是“城北一水通平山堂，名瘦西湖，本名早上湖”。什么意思呢？听说那会儿扬州城的西北郊区呢，有一座天然形成的小型湖泊，由于它地处西北郊，所以呢，我们暂且就称它之为西湖。由于它的水道瘦瘦长长的，非常的狭窄，所以说呢，我们又称之为瘦。那天下西湖30有6啊，也唯有扬州西湖瘦。
According to historical records, during the Qing Dynasty, Emperor Qianlong would take a boat to Shugang on each of his southern tours to Yangzhou. To catch the emperor's eye, salt merchants built gardens along both sides of the Slender West Lake. With clever designs and the borrowed scenery technique, they created a series of uniquely distinctive lakeside garden landscapes. Yangzhou's iconic 5-pavilion bridge was built for one such of Emperor Qianlong's southern tours. The bridge's 5 pavilions feature soaring eaves and upturned corners, showcasing the elegance of the Jiangnan region. In contrast, its foundation resembles the thick, sturdy walls of a northern city. While Yangzhou has the charm of cities south of the Yangtze River, it's actually located to the north. The bridge elegantly combines cultural elements from both the north and the south. Since the 1980s, Yangzhou's government has mandated that the core scenic area of Slender West Lake remain visually undisturbed, with strict regulations on building heights. As you boat along the lake, the skyline remains unchanged. The same scenery Emperor Qianlong once admired from his dragon boat is what visitors still see today. Past and present merge seamlessly. Though no longer the major economic dynamo it was, Yangzhou still exudes grace and elegance. The Grand Canal, no longer so vital for transporting grain, still serves as a key part of the south to north water diversion project, connecting the north and the south in another way. For the people of Yangzhou, life is meant to be enjoyed. Where does this leisurely, contented temperament come from? It flows naturally from those centuries of rich historical heritage.